he knows it's a short career, and he's had a career where it's been punctured by injuries for him as well, bad ones at times, where it's taken him a little bit of time to overcome them. So he's probably looking at that and thinking, I might just not get enough opportunities. And I would not be surprised, given the kind of manager Slot is, he may well have had the combo with him and said, listen, you're not going to get that many starts, and if it's that, that's the most important thing to you, is starting week in, week out. You may have to go and do that elsewhere.
I wonder if he had that conversation with him before the end of the season.
Yeah.
Though. I wonder if
he probably has, Jess, what I'm saying. He probably has had that conversation, I reckon.
I was going to say it's purely speculative, but I do think there has been a conversation at some point between, when did Liverpool play PSG away? Was it
late February?
Late February.
March.
I think between them then and sort of the last month of the season, I think there was a conversation, because a few of us spoke to him after that PSG game, and he was very emphatic in the fact, this is my club and I want to stay and fight and want to prove. And obviously he was on a bit of a high. He'd obviously come on and scored the winner, but then the tone very much shifted then in the back end of the season. So I think there probably has been a conversation there where the manager has said, and like Ian said, Slot isn't the sort of manager we know to beat around the bush, and I'm sure he respects Elliott enormously and wouldn't mind having him as part of the squad. But I think he's at the age now where he could be a really, really top player. I think he could have a really, really successful career in the Premier League. And I think the risk if he stays at Liverpool is that he peters out a little bit, and then his stocks are less high, and he wants to get a move next summer, and maybe the money isn't there or the options aren't quite as high quality. So I think for him, as much as I'm sure he'd love to play for Liverpool for the rest of his career, I think it probably is the best thing for him to move on.
I think he knows, because there's probably clips of this, isn't there? But the last game of the season, players with the trophy, they're all in front of the Kop, and where I'm in 103, quite low down, I'm like row 19, and he was stood just back to the side of the goal with his family, and all the players were, Trent was there, and all the players, he was upset and whatever, but Elliott stood there talking to his parent in his seat, and the next minute he's literally hugging his dad, and he is physically sobbing. Like, he's not like, just tears rolling down his face, he is sobbing. Someone has to give him a pair of sunglasses to hide his face, and then the Kop, I think, kind of realises, and he gets a little bit of an ovation. But he knows then, he's like stood there thinking like, it's not the crowning of Liverpool winning the league and the joy of that. It's like he knows this is the last time he's going to get to do that. And it's maybe these things are ordered in saying, maybe he's gone to the Euros to give himself more options, or to remind everyone how good he is, because he is a very, very good player. We're just fortunate enough to be Liverpool and hopefully operating at a level above that now. And that's just unfortunate for him. Brilliant for us. At the same time, it's really difficult.
It's brilliant for us, Ian, but it does make you think, well, if Harvey can't do it, then how hard is it for any sort of young player breaking through it? I think we do like to see young players sort of giving a go. You like the idea of a young kid who's signing up at 9 years old, having a chance to play for Liverpool. It's always been hard. It's always been difficult. How many do make it? But are we getting to the point now where, is it almost impossible for you think at a club like Liverpool, where we want to operate, to be a sort of young player? Would Trent have got as many opportunities as he had now? Would we have persevered with others? You fancy someone like Fowler always would have make it, but it's at the level you'd have to be like one of the best strikers ever, because it would be a little bit of a shame, really, if we get to a point where you say, well, to play for Liverpool, you've got to be 22, world-class elite, have 100 games under your belt. Are we getting to that? Is that inevitable?
The bar should be high, John. It should be unbelievably high to play for the football club, and I think that's Slot's opinion. And no matter where you're from, the bar's the bar. So it doesn't really matter, if you're local or you're not. You've got to hit certain levels and certain standards. And Harvey Elliott's had a good Liverpool career. He's been there 6 years. He's made nearly 150 appearances. That's far more than a lot of people. And he's won the fucking lot, by the way. Now listen, he's played a bigger role in certain competitions than others, but he's still won every trophy there is to win. So listen, fair play to him for having a career like that under a different manager. Maybe he gets to stay around a little bit longer. Every chance that would have been the thing. But I think, the bar should always remain really, really high for this football club. And I think since the manager's come in, he's made that really clear to everyone. So absolutely everyone. If you're going to play for this team on a consistent basis, then you've got to be able to meet these standards. And I've got absolutely no problem with that, because guess what? That means Liverpool will go on and be really successful, in my opinion. So, you mentioned some names there. People like Trent and Farrell, they'll always come through because they're unbelievably gifted. Gerrard, no one's stopping them. Yes, you need an opportunity. A player gets injured, you get your chance, you've got to seize it. That will always be the case. But the very, very best will always, in my opinion, that cream will rise to the top, and it has done for those players you've mentioned there. So it's hard lines for him. If it ends up being one of them where he has to go elsewhere, Jay's point there about the sell-on clause, I think that's more important in football now. I think when Liverpool end up getting Elliott, I think it goes to a tribunal, doesn't it? And I think Fulham have got a 20% sell-on clause, so if we do sell him, they'll get some of that cash as well. So it's important that Liverpool are thinking along those lines. I'm sure they will be. We've seen the Quanta thing. That looks like it's going to have something similar in there, or a buyback, whatever it may be. So important to be thinking about those opportunities. But listen, he's played his part, and he's got some big moments in a Liverpool shirt, and no one, absolutely no one can take them away from him.
Yeah, so he's had a good Liverpool career, and he joins as a teenager. He's not quite a academy prospect, but he joins from Fulham, like Ian says, and he's been able to live all our dreams. And he might sort of feel like he stuck in at the end when that was possible, because I think for the next Harvey Elliott it will be harder. And I think it was noticeable to me. Like Ian says, you cheer on 3 Liverpool lads. I don't think any of them will be Liverpool lads on the 1st of August. Quanta's already on his way. I think it's just this tournament that's held up his move. I think it's his medical, maybe even today. I think there was some pictures of her knocking about. Tyler Morton wanted to move on last year, fair play. It didn't quite sort of happen for him because of the midfield situations. He'll be sort of itching to go, and then Elliott as well. And it is sort of a slightly strange thing to think, well, they're the best young players in the country, and if they're not sort of quite good enough, I don't know if I'm a 17-year-old looking at it. I am a little bit worried.
I hope you're enjoying this free show at the moment. Loads of excellent, exciting stuff on the Anfield app. If you want to be part of the whole thing, you can download the Anfield app and go from there. Or you can subscribe via the YouTube membership as well for video-only content and other bits and pieces. We love doing these shows. We love that you watch them. So come, be part of the journey with us.